right here in my home because outside it's still winter here in Wisconsin. It's super cold. I hear it may warm up a little bit, but not warm enough for these puppies to be planted outside. So I'm going to start them indoors, and today's lesson is going to be on succulent planting. All right, so let's get started. To start this lesson, you have to start off with a good soil for succulents to grow in. And if you're growing succulents outdoors or in a greenhouse, you can use a potting soil mix. But just remember that that potting soil mix is going to stay wet a lot longer, so you will need to be sure not to overwater because too much water for succulents tends to be the killer of succulents. I always stick with the citrus soil. You can mix up your own soils, you can go through the trouble, the chaos, or just keep it simple and get a pre-mixed citrus soil that is made specifically just for succulents. It's that easy. Since I'm gardening in the home, I'm going to use tools that I have in the home. And one of those tools is a larger size mixing bowl. All right, so the mixing bowl is to put my soil in. Do you need this step? No, but it makes it a lot easier. Okay, always you have to keep sticking your hand in the bag of dirt, and then it like gets all over, which is gonna get all over anyways. It gets messy. We love it. We're gardeners. We love the mess. We love getting our hands dirty. But this way, you know, your house stays a little bit cleaner. And the next thing you're gonna need is a popcorn scooper. If you don't have a popcorn scooper, use anything that scoops, even if it's a big soup ladle, whatever you got. I always like this. You could use your hands, that's fine, but it tends to kind of get all over a little bit more, so I like to use the scooper. You just go in, you scoop, and you put your soil in here. Now I'm gonna tell you this. You're probably wondering why I'm using such small little pots. With these succulents having this size of a root ball, you don't want to go overly large, otherwise it's going to be sitting in a big pot of all of this wet soil. You don't want it to be overpowered by the soil. You want to bump them up into the next step, which are these pots right here. But if you are doing a mixed combination succulent planter, then yeah, go a lot bigger because you're going to need room for that to grow. So the reason why I'm using this is to bump them up, let their roots grow, and then as their roots grow, then I'll bump them up into something even larger. But for now, they're still little babies. They're just really little cuttings that just finally got a nice size root ball. It's not like, you know, you have a baby and they come out and they're able to walk right away. You know, you gotta put them in the walker first. That's kind of my way of describing it to you, is they need that little extra step in between, and that personal care will make them turn into really healthy succulents, and it will also help promote better growth and a healthier growing plant. Let's get planting. Now we just go ahead and plant them. All you want to do is make a hole, okay? I'm going in slow motion for you guys. So there's a nice hole there. You plop that in there, push the dirt over top like this, and push it down really nice. Now, if you top dress it, top dressing means adding stones on top, I would leave it just like that. But I am not going to be top dressing these. So I'm going to add a little bit of extra soil around there. And there you go. You are probably wondering why I'm not top dressing it. I'm not going to top dress it because this is their beginner pot. I want to be able to allow these to get as much air as they can and to dry out as often as they need to, just to be a little bit more exposed. Once I bump them up into a larger pot, then I will top dress them. But for now, I gotta admit, I'm loving the look of the soil because we don't get to see that right now. We don't get to play in it. So I love the smell of it. And by the time it needs to be bumped up, I'll already have my hands in the soil outside, and then I'll be okay with adding the decorative stones on top. As you guys can see, this one's a little bit more scraggly. This type of succulent is very aggressive. So what I'm going to do is just kind of take that off there so that way it doesn't stay super leggy. I'm going to go ahead and plant it, and after I plant it, I'm then just gonna go ahead and stick this one right in here. I wouldn't normally do that with any other succulent, but with this one, as you can tell, it gets roots everywhere. So anywhere you stick it, anywhere it lays, it grows in. What's the name of that succulent, you ask? Well, let me tell you guys a little something. I am not an expert when it comes to the names of succulents, but I have always grown succulents. I've always been awesome at growing succulents, and the more weird something is, the more I love it. And that's what I can't wait to bring you guys this season, is more weird things that you guys haven't seen.
Really cool.
My husband's admiring, but he's got to keep up. Come on, Jason, let's get rolling. So yeah, you can take your time and plant it, but I guess, you know, when you do this your entire life, it's just like second nature. It's like, you know, what's my analogy on this one?
Like riding a bike.
It's just like riding a bike. And there you have it. All of the succulents are planted. They look amazing. And now it is time to water them. Let me show you how to water your succulents for the first time ever. So all we're going to do is set it in the sink, and you're gonna wanna get your water just right. You don't want your water super hot, and you don't want it super cold either, because succulents do not like that. I want it to just be about room temperature. And then what you wanna do is take out your sprayer, and you don't want this high pressure. There we go. Do you see how light that water flow is? That's exactly what you want, nice and light. All right, so all we're gonna do is go around, and the first time you water a succulent, you wanna water it all the way through to make sure that that soil got all over evenly wet. And there we go. When is the next time you have to water your succulent? You don't have to water your succulent until it's all the way completely dry, because the succulent plant already holds a ton of moisture in the leaves. So if the entire soil dries out, it still has dependable water living in the leaves. Be sure that your pot has drainage holes on the bottom. If you are planting your succulents in a pot that does not have drainage holes on them, then please do not water them the way that I just watered my succulents right now. You are going to want to use a light mist spray bottle so you do not overwater your succulents. Overwatering succulents is the biggest killer for them. Now that the succulents are watered, I let them sit in the sink until they're done dripping, and then I will go ahead and place them back on my shelving over here. On the shelving that will be installed tomorrow, right, Jason?
Yep.
That concludes my lesson for today. And please stay tuned, because the gardening season has just begun. If you know anyone else that loves succulents and would love this video, please feel free to share.